Welcome to the Culture Encounters podcast. I am your host, Chad Obi, and this is the third installment of Road Trip. And this week we're going to Ohio. Before we do that, though, I do want to extend my sincere condolences to those affected in the senseless act of violence that occurred outside of the Altria Theater in Richmond, Virginia this past week. In the wake of this tragedy, my heart certainly goes out to everyone who has been affected by this. You're in my heart, sending nothing but love and light to all of you. Enough and enough. Enough is enough. It's time for some change, for sure. We have to stop doing this to each other. But now we're going to go ahead and transition into talking about road trip. So today we're talking about Ohio, also known as the Buckeye State. With me today is actually my girlfriend. This is Tristan Renninger. What's going on, Tristan? How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Chad?
I'm good. You sound so professional.
I know, sitting on my own couch.
I know, it's great, isn't it? Couple quick facts. And if you couldn't tell, I asked Tristan to be on the podcast today because she was born and raised in Ohio. We're going to get into that in just a second, but a couple quick facts about Ohio. It was the 17th state admitted into the Union. It is, again, known as the Buckeye State. The state bird is the cardinal. The state flower is the carnation. And the state motto is, with God, all things are possible. So let's go ahead and get into our conversation. So Tristan, first talk a little bit about, your experience living in Ohio. Where did you live? How long did you live there? Let's just start there. Where did you live and how long did you live there?
Okay, so I'm from Northeast Ohio, from a suburb of Akron called Norton, Ohio. We're about 40 minutes southeast of Cleveland. So close to Lake Erie, but not too close. I was born there, lived there all the way through college. So till about 21, 22. And then after college, I moved to Virginia for my career.
Wonderful. Talk to me a little bit about what it was like there, climate-wise. Was it hilly? Was it flat?
It's very flat.
Very flat, yeah.
Lots of cornfields.
One thing I've always wondered about Ohio, and I've always been curious about, is how the identity, right? The regional identity. So many different states have their own kind of regional identity, like, oh, we're from the North, or we're from the West, or we're from the Midwest, we're from the South. Ohio, I've talked to several different people, and I'll get different things. I'll get some people say, yeah, we're Northerners, and I've heard other people say we're Midwest. What is your experience?
Ohio is definitely the Midwest.
Yeah.
Part of the cornfield section of the country. Not exactly sure why it's the Midwest, because we're fairly east
right.
and north, but that is what we're known
the Eastern Midwest.
Yes.
So have you heard that though? Have you heard of people being like, oh, we identify as Northern, or
I have not.
Have you heard of is there any sort of do you think that there is there a lot of pride in Ohio? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes. Ohio is a very prideful state in a lot of ways, especially with sports teams. Very ride or die in the state of Ohio. An example I always give is the Cleveland Browns, the football team. I forget what year it was, a few years ago now. Did not win one game, even in the preseason. 0 wins the entire season. So the city of Cleveland had a parade to celebrate that feat, where millions of people showed up. And then again, every year our motto is try again next year. So sports, very proud. Browns, Cavs, Guardians, Ohio State, the Ohio State University, as you will hear. Also very proud.
OH.
No.
All right.
Uh, otherwise, it's kind of one of those things where we can make fun of it, but you better not.
Right. It's kind of a lot of pride there for sure.
Yeah.
And I believe, talk a little bit about, I believe, Akron's most famous son. Is it Akron or is he from Cleveland?
Oh, LeBron James.
LeBron James, yes.
He is originally from Akron.
Yeah, so you're
yes,
from...
he was born and raised, went to high school all the way in Akron.
And he, I don't know how well, I don't know if this is nationally advertised, I'm sure it is. He communicates with the community still, right?
Oh yeah, like even though he's not living here full time, because he's in LA now, he's given back to the community a ton, specifically in Akron. Most recently, he started his I Promise school, which is for kind of some underprivileged kids, and there's even like a living community for them and their families. Everything's provided for them, and just in other ways, he's very much given back to charities and different organizations in Akron.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really do respect it.
Absolutely.
As far as that goes.
Now, as you know, this is the Culture Encounters podcast. So each state, each regional area has its own culture or multiple cultures surrounding it. What was your experience like growing up in Norton, and then going to Ashland University? With different cultures, exposure to different cultures, whether that be racially, ethnically, religiously, sexual orientation, anything.
Right. So Norton is not a very cultural place. I remember, growing up in like my graduating class, we had definitely less than 10 kids of color. Mostly African American, all from like one or two families. We did have a representative from Mexico that was born in Mexico.
What was the ratio? What ratio is that? So you said about 10. How was the size of your graduating class?
My graduating class was about 180.
Okay, so like less than someone who's better at math than me. Less than a third.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Way less than a third.
Yeah. Okay, so
very white.
What about when you got to college?
So I went to Ashland University in the city of Ashland, Ohio, in Ashland County. If you're ever wondering, that's it's in mid-Ohio, kind of in between Cleveland and Columbus. Very small college, very rural, conservative town, just as a whole. But then the university was kind of a cultural hub in the middle of it that kind of added that diversity a little bit.
Right.
Definitely more diversity. We had lots of, foreign exchange students, lots from the Middle East or from Asia.
What was that like for you, coming from Norton, which is a little bit, from what you're saying, a little bit more heterogeneous, heterogeneous. No, I lied, homogeneous. What was it like coming from Norton that was a little bit more homogeneous, to, getting a little bit more of a diverse experience for you? Was that eye-opening for you? How did that shape you?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, Norton was very low diversity, and also in the other, characteristics that you mentioned. I really don't think I ever met anybody that was anything other than Christian growing up that I knew of.
Yeah.
There were kind of bits and pieces of different sexual orientations, but
not as open.
Yeah, very much not as open.
Right.
When I got to college, that very much changed.
Right.
I had lots of friends with different sexual orientations. To people of different sexual orientations and different religions. Like I said, we had a large population from the Middle East. I remember being an education major. In a lot of my classes, there was this woman from the Middle East, and she was a mother. And she would always tell us about her kids, and she was so excited to be at school and having this opportunity, and so that's really cool to see.
Right.
Something that I wasn't used to.
Right. And right. So a couple other things I want to mention. Akron is known for what industry?
Rubber.
Rubber.
It is the rubber city.
The rubber city. Okay. What other any specific? What? So like what? That's my phone. Are there any? So with rubber, what was that like growing up? Knowing like I believe is it Goodyear and Firestone are based there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got these two national, at least national, maybe even international companies that are basically in your hometown or near your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Were you constantly smelling rubber?
No. Really, I didn't really notice much about it. Like, it wasn't like a big part of the environment except for the Goodyear blimp. I actually knew where the hangar was. Like, you would go down the highway and see like the huge building that it's stored in, and so you definitely see it flying by from time to time, which was always fun.
Do you think so? My impression, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
In my time in Ohio, is that it's got a very Ohio. The vibe I've gotten is a very strong blue collar work ethic vibe. A very working class environment. People work hard, and they lots of elbow get in there. Hands dirty, lots of elbow grease.
Yeah.
Do you think that because of the fact that the rubber industry is there, do you think that's contributed to that?
I definitely think so. Granted, factory work and whatnot isn't a huge industry nowadays,
right.
But definitely in the past generations,
right?
Like most men worked in a factory,
yeah,
especially rubber. So I think generationally that's kind of been carried down.
Right. That makes sense. We have the Philip Morris factory in Richmond, who a lot of people's parents, grandparents, great grandparents worked there.
Yeah.
So let's talk food.
Yeah.
So Ohioans, we love to talk about food here. So in Ohioans, what are some unique foods in Ohio?
Well, if you didn't know, Ohio is the Buckeye State.
Hey.
Which is a tree that has like these nuts on it that are dark brown, and then there's a circle of light brown. It's called Buckeye. And there has been a dessert made from said Buckeye where it's a chocolate circle with peanut butter in the middle. So the peanut butter sticks out to make that lighter circle.
I love Buckeyes. They're so good.
Who doesn't?
OH.
No.
Where's the shot? So we have this ongoing thing. I've been trying to get her to do the OHIO chant.
Most people will. Years. That's a real thing.
For years.
If you're out in public, people will definitely answer you. I will not.
So I know about Buckeyes. What about can you tell people anything about Cincinnati chili?
I don't travel to Cincinnati often. I've heard about it.
I've had it. It's good. Although it's funny, and I'm going to talk more about this on our Kentucky episode. I've met those in Kentucky that call it Kentucky chili. So Kentucky and Ohio, y'all got to wrestle it out.
It is right on that.
It is. I've also heard it called Skyline chili.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way we always had it was like chili over spaghetti noodles.
Okay.
It was really
I have heard that.
Yeah, it was really good. Mm-hmm. Anything else that you've noticed food-wise that's like, oh, this is an Ohio thing? What do you call carbonated sweetened beverages?
Pop.
You guys call them pop there, yeah. Is that all of Ohio? In all of Ohio, is pop? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
In Virginia, it is But that I always thought that was really cool. Is there anything else, whether it be food or anything else that would be said in Ohio that we wouldn't say here or in Virginia, like any like Ohio slang?
Oh man. I mean, I'm pretty sure I only said y'all ironically growing up,
Yeah, you mentioned
and
that.
now it's all the time.
We went to a restaurant, I remember, and I think our waitress was from somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and your mom was like she said y'all, and your mom was like really like not freaked out, but very intrigued by the fact that she had said the word y'all.
Yeah.
Because of that, so apparently y'all is not a common term other than ironically in Ohio.
We say you guys.
You guys.
Which now I'm trying to get away from, just the guys. But
Right. Being inclusive.
Yeah.
What about what do you call a backyard event? An event where people gather to eat and you cook in a backyard.
A cookout.
It's a cookout. It's cookout here too.
Okay. Sometimes people say barbecue.
Yeah, like interchangeably.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what kind of barbecue do you eat in Ohio? Is there a norm, or is it you can get pretty much anything?
I am most familiar with the what is the ketchup based?
Yeah, that's right, Virginia.
Yeah, not the vinegar.
Not the vinegar. What about like the sweet baby Ray's?
Yeah, basically.
Is that a thing there too? Like
Yeah.
the really sweet molassesy,
Mm-hmm.
like the Kansas City style barbecue
Yeah.
is Okay, so last thing I want to really talk about. Well, two things actually. I have lots of thoughts. Wait.
No.
So you moved to Virginia when you were 24?
21.
21.
Yeah, right out of college.
Okay. Did you notice any different interactions with people or any differences between the people in Virginia versus the people in Ohio?
When I first got to Virginia, I came down for my job interview with my sister, and we were just here for the day. And, afterwards we went out for lunch and did some local shops and stuff. And all we could say was, people are so nice. They're so nice.
Yeah.
Like, just like the shop owners or people at the restaurant, like, it's like they know that you're out of town, and they're just so helpful. Like, any questions you have, like when I first moved down here, our waitress at Shoney's introduced me to the apartment complex that I ended up living in because I didn't have a place to live yet.
Right.
Like, so nice.
And that's not to say that people in Ohio aren't nice. Everyone I've met in Ohio has been wonderful.
I feel like we tend to keep to ourselves, though. We're not like outwardly go out of our way.
In Virginia, we're nosy.
Yeah.
We got to know everybody's business. So it's fun to see that. What about Okay, last thing I was gonna say. If somebody had 24 hours to spend in Ohio, what is the one thing you would tell them they have to do? Or it doesn't have to be the one thing. Something that they absolutely have to do.
I would say spend it in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland gets a lot of crap, but they're a very proud city, and they do have some really cool stuff. Like, you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not far from Cleveland in Canton, you have the Football Hall of Fame. You can always go to, a Guardians game, Cavs game, whatever. There's Lake Erie. Lots to do up there on the water.
Yeah.
Cleveland Zoo. It's a cool place.
We'll have to hit up the Cleveland Zoo next time we go. I haven't been there.
Yeah. They have elephants.
Don't they have pandas too? Can they get a panda child or something?
They might. I just know the Akron Zoo doesn't have elephants. So if I wanted elephants, I went to Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Alright, one thing I think would be really fun to do, let's just do the alphabet real quick. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H,
I,
J, K, L, M, N, O, P, L, M, N.
O.
That counts. She said it. Didn't say it in the exact context, but she said I and O.
I have said those letters in my life.
Yes, but now you've said them here.
Oh.
You said it. You're a big Ohio State fan now.
I mean, it is in my blood.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I get that from my grandpa. He was all about Ohio State,
Oh,
like all Ohio sports in general.
gotcha.
Yeah. Even if, like, I'm not super into sports, but I mean, it's in my blood. So if I'm going to root for somebody,
It needs to be
you
Ohio
got to
State.
be die hard. Yeah.
Did Akron have a football team? Not Akron, sorry, Ashland. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So
They're pretty good. It's like D3, though.
Okay.
They're good, though.
Did I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Guardians actually changed their name a couple years ago, right?
Yes. So proud.
From an appropriative name of the indigenous cultures. Do you know any of the indigenous population that was in Ohio, like that was settled there?
I'm not privy to any actual like tribes that are settled. A lot of things in Ohio are named after Native Americans. Like you'll have Cuyahoga Falls, Tuscarawas, like these are cities. That sort of thing. Lots of lineage that way.
Got you. Are there protected reservations there at all, or no?
I could not tell you.
Okay.
Definitely not in Northeast Ohio.
Right. And not like to the degree of like in North Carolina or anything like that.
No.
Like, okay.
No. Lots of Amish though.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's true. We actually went there. A lot big Amish population. Amish. Mennonite as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's more in like southern Ohio, but yeah.
We went to a place called what was that restaurant we went to? That I believe it's a Mennonite restaurant, right?
Yes, it is. What is it called?
I don't remember. Do you remember?
Give me a second.
Okay. That's really good. The peanut butter.
Oh my god, the peanut butter spread. It's so good.
That is peanut butter spread. That was really good. Kind of sort of like you went
You could choose the buffet.
Yeah.
The Der Dutchman.
The Dirt Dutchman?
Der, D-E-R.
D-E-R Dutchman.
Dutchman.
Really good food.
Yes.
Really, really, really good food.
All like scratch homemade.
Yes, it was excellent. But no, I'm very happy that the Cleveland organization decided to change their name. Definitely a step in the right direction.
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. And all right, I believe that is it for this episode. Happy Pride Month, by the way, for those who celebrate.
Happy Pride!
Woo! Yes. Hope everybody has a wonderful and safe evening, and we will see you next time. Thank you for being here, Tristan.
Thank you.